We rehome them a lot, so...
Well, she's originally from Cowra, coming back from Newcastle Uni and wants to adopt a dog.
Oh,
You let us know what type of dog and we'll keep an eye out for a dog.
Keep an eye out. Tell the break it's that one. I did have to.
If she not sees a nice dog in town, let us
Put on their
know.
list. When Russell Keane got home from work, he must go home.
We'll start in about 1 minute. If you can take your seats, that would be appreciated.
Councillor Harris, it's 2 o'clock. He's not even listening now.
Off you go. Over to you.
Okay, are we ready?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the July Council meeting. The Mayor is an apology today. He hasn't been able to make it, but so you've got me for today. Webcasting. Please note that today's, other than the confidential sessions, are being recorded and will be placed on the Council website. All in attendance should refrain from making defamatory statements. Council takes all care when maintaining privacy. However, members of the public gallery and those addressing Council should be aware that you may be recorded. Now we move on to the acknowledgement of country, and we invite Councillor Dennis Brady to do the acknowledgement.
Megan, Lachlan Shire acknowledges the Wiradjuri people as the traditional custodians of this land. We recognise their strength and resilience and pay respect to elders past, present and emerging, and to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people who are part of the Lachlan Shire community.
Thank you, Councillor Brady. We just move on to number 3, apologies and requests for a leave of absence. Do we have any of those?
So yes, thank you, Dennis. Councillor Brady. We have an apology from the Mayor, and we have an apology from Judith Bartholomew that also can't make the meeting. Mover and seconder.
We have a mover, Councillor Brady, second, Councillor Turner. Now, before we move on, we have a speaker. I'd like to invite Marion Packham up. She's the CEO of the Condobolin Aboriginal Land Council, and she'd just like to have a chat to us.
That button's right to go?
Yeah, it's all green.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. My name's Marion Whiten Packham, proud Wiradjuri woman, born and raised in Condobolin. And why I'm here today is just to talk about the importance of partnerships and building those strong relationships within community. What will be handed out at some point is the WCC, Wiradjuri Condobolin Corporation, information book, and so our partnerships with Evolution Mining and other partners. We also have a flyer, an information flyer about the centre, and we have our strategic plan. So with our strategic plan, ensuring that we promote and encourage tourism. We have a lot of people coming from the information centre that have been referred to WC or to the study centre, and we're seeing more and more tourists coming in and asking to have tours as well. So when we are doing that, it's encouraging people to go to the museum that's in the street as well. But my role, I'm with WCC. I'm actually the part of the language program, and I'm going to leave a highlights of 2024 and 2025 for the Shire to have a look at. And so when we're talking about language, I don't think people realise how big and how wide our scope is. So people might see in the local paper or on social media that, I've been into the schools and I've been teaching language. Our numbers and how many people we actually reach is quite staggering. So I'll leave this with you. So through the language program, we create digital and physical resources for that revitalisation of language. We're actually moving into other communities as well, so we do go into Forbes, West Wyalong, even further. Like we've done works in Sydney, invited to speak at different events, spoke in Darwin just the other year. My colleague and I spoke in Darwin as well. But when you're looking at over 1,000 children and adults within our community that are directly impacted by language. Programs extend from Condobolin to Lithgow, Sydney, Newcastle, Deniliquin and further afield. We have, and even with through that tourism, whenever we have something at the centre, whenever we do anything with language, we always try to include the Lachlan Shire in our posts and tag you, so that you have more, more people are tuning in. So I'm going to go to the back of this. So we've got, I'm just going to go to something at the back. So our current Facebook stats, we have 31,000 followers. In the last 90 days, we've had 45,000 views and engagement of almost 5,000. Survey, we've just recently completed a survey, and the survey was 2,000 plus. Now, we're still going through those figures because, as you know, with technology, there might be a few bots in there that have jumped in and, tried to... But we are going through all of that information, and so, but we've had the response is over 2,000 surveys. So when I'm saying about building those strong relationships and partnerships, so those conversations, so somebody at the centre has said, make sure you see the Wiradjuri Study Centre. So somebody's passed them on to us. We try and send people, out to the lake, down to the museum, whatever they can actually see within Condobolin, remind them of different places. So that's why I've come today, to make sure that we just continue those strong relationships and partnerships. And like I've said, with language is really important to the identity of our children. It's important for the strength that they get. When we teach language, we teach all students. So all the students, so when I go into a classroom, we're teaching all of the students within the classroom. And so when we are learning, we have to provide different ways of learning. So I've had so many rich stories about how language has impacted on our children. To see a kindergarten student by term 3, I'm talking quite a few years ago, not being able to grasp the numbers from 1 to 10. Come down to do a Wiradjuri language lesson, and the teacher had brought this to my attention. I scrapped what I was doing and said, right, we're going to do numbers. So I taught them numbers for the first time that they'd had language with me. We did numbers, we were up, moving, singing. The little boy that couldn't get it in term 3 was about to repeat kindergarten. The light bulb went on. He got it. He didn't look back. So that's only one rich story that we have within our community. And through the language program, we collect a lot of data. The way that we work, we're always documenting. But with the Aboriginal Languages Trust, which is New South Wales Aboriginal Languages Trust, we're very fortunate to have a community-based researcher. And she is it's a pilot program. She is one of 6 in New South Wales that is based at the centre. We've had a couple of trainees that they have moved on because they wanted to improve their education. So they're training and aiming for, once exposed to different opportunities, they've thought, I'm going back to school and I'm going to get my HSC. So they're striving for something better. I've got one story I'll tell you before I go. To teach at the St Joseph's Catholic School for a whole day, kindergarten through to year 1, they've made a commitment earlier on to language. To teach the whole day, come out, you would think, my age, you might be a bit tired at the end of the day. Came out one day, I was full of energy, revitalised. As I walked out, students from another school singing out, "Hey miss, I made the choir." So we're talking about the choir. The choir is in Wiradjuri language. The name of it is in Wiradjuri language. Yep, oh, that's great. I'm so proud of you. I can't wait to see you. So in the one afternoon, then go down to Shaman's, go down to the supermarket, and at the checkout, a girl that was home from Sydney, that's away from her family, striving to do really well in rugby league. She's there with her mum and she says, "Oh, miss, we did a camp and we had to write a reflection, and I wrote my reflection in Wiradjuri language." I said, "Oh, that's fantastic. Keep going with your football. So proud of you." Walk out of the supermarket and passing the football outside, 2 boys. "Hey, Mamuji, how are you?" That's "Hey, my friend." And so then we caught up. "Oh, great. What are you up to?" So not just using them in the language within the classroom, but actually taking that out into the community. And so I've really made even though it's wasn't part of my contract to begin with, I'm very fortunate to be able to teach Wiradjuri language within the community. And it's, like I've said, we can teach and teach and teach, and sometimes people just need to look at things a different way. So when we have language, it actually, the light bulb goes on for all students, but in particular Aboriginal students, and that strong connection to identity as well. So I'm going to leave with you today. I know I've only got a short time. So again, this is a booklet from WCC, the strategic plan of everything that happens at WCC. And if you can go through that at your leisure. And then we have a flyer that we will have at this centre that we will hand out, and then we'll aim to get more of those for the Shire, well, for the information centre, and for you guys here to hand out or to have as well. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Marion. That was very interesting. I like those stories. Does anyone have any questions for Marion before she goes? Councillor Phillips?
Yeah, Marion, just your numbers. Do you teach those in Aboriginal language or English? How did you get that young fella to turn that light bulb on using your expression?
So it's through. So I think I'm changing every year as well how I deliver, because our children are starting to become competent in those basic phrases and greetings. They're really quite good at that. So then I have to sort of grow as well. But it was through so getting them up to like an activity. So through an activity, and that's in language. So always. So if they're just starting out, I'll say, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll count to 10. So then, okay, let's do it in Wiradjuri. So it might be. Yeah, so then I'll do it in Wiradjuri, and so it'll be like Numbai Bula Bula, Numbai Bula Bula Mara. So once they get a tune in their head, it sticks in there, and then an activity of grouping, so getting them up and people to move when they're doing something. We've had a caravanning group come to the centre a few years ago, and at the time we had Teddy Bear's Picnic. So you go in and it's all the preschools, the mums and bubs groups. It's like a sea, I always say it's a sea of orange and yellow vests of little ones. And so I walked in after a meeting one day, and there's all this sea of little vests and sensory play, bubbles are floating through the air, there's music playing. It's such a good feeling and vibe up at the Wiradjuri Study Centre. And then to have a caravanning group who really didn't book a tour, but they arrived, and they were 60 to 70-year-olds. And so they said, "Oh, can we have a tour?" I went, "Sure you can, let's go. We'll go and have a tour." So take them around, and they loved it because all of that activity was happening on that day, and it was like I said, such a good feeling that I said, talking about language, and I said, "Oh, come on, let's go. You're going to have a lesson while you're here." And so Yeah, and they said, oh, we can't do that, we're too old. I said, no, you're not old. So we get them in there and start getting them to, sing a song and shimmy and shake the tail feathers and all that sort of stuff. And by the end of it, the 70-year-old, I think he was in his 70s, walked out and he's shaking his shoulders, singing the word as he's walking out the door. And so it's like, to the bus driver, so where's the bus driver? Right, I think you're going to have a choir on the way home, singing in language. So it's making it fun and engaging. But when we teach language as well, we don't have to spend a lot of money. So we can take some of the books that we know, substituting some of the words in Wiradjuri, and then we have more culturally rich lessons as well throughout the year or the term. But it's so using what we have. But the first lesson I teach anybody, so mums and bubs groups right through to elders, is Yinjamara, which is respect. And so respect, and little ones will say, it's about being kind to your friend and sharing all of your toys and all that sort of stuff. Yes, it's all those things. It's being kind to your friend. It's being kind to the environment, to animals, to nature. It's being kind to yourself as well. But the really big lesson around Yinjamara and respect is going slowly and listening to the lessons that are being taught to you. So who's teaching us those lessons? Our elders, our family, our parents, our aunts, our uncles, the coach at the football, the coach at netball, soccer, wherever it is. And we're learning from nature, we're learning from the seasons, we're learning from the environment. So that we always come back to Yinjamara, regardless of what topic we're learning, we'll always reminder. So I can walk into preschools now and they are waiting. They're so excited, they're waiting. And if somebody's still packing up, or if it's somebody new that I haven't had before and they're not really sure, they tend to follow, or it's, thank you for showing Yinjamara. Thank you for showing Yinjamara. So it's, and so they sit up and they're ready. They're showing me that they're ready to learn. And so that's something that I think we've been instilling in our children within the community, and that's something that we'll continue to do. Yeah. So.
Thanks for your time.
Sorry?
Marion?
Yes?
How close did you get to losing the language altogether?
So we had so Uncle Stan Grant Senior actually compiled the dictionary with Dr. John Rudder. But when they compiled the dictionary, we're very fortunate because Wiradjuri is the largest area within New South Wales. And so we were very fortunate that it was sort of still being practiced here and there and everywhere. But in Condobolin, we had with our elders, even though it might have been used more in the Dubbo area and other areas, we spoke language in families here at home that we wouldn't sort of share at school or with general public. There are recordings. I've actually gone through a recording of some of the family sort of speaking those words. But Uncle Stan, when he compiled the dictionary, if you look at the dictionary, there's so many words, but in it they'll have references of people that assisted with it. So Uncle Stan did come to Condobolin quite a bit. And so you'll see CC, which is Charlie Coe, and other people have been sort of a part of compiling that. We work with, you've got the app. And we do have a free app on the phone. So we're trying to make it accessible. Whenever you're doing work though, so we're trying to make it accessible to communities, but when you're doing important work, say it's signage, say it's a program that you're running, it's making sure that you still follow those protocols within community, and then you reach out to either the elders or knowledge holders or language speakers, so that's still continued with community. In talking about language, we work with 20 groups across Australia. So we work with the Jawoyn people up in Northern Territory. So what you'll find is that they will speak 10 languages or more, but the younger generation are not learning those older languages, and there's that risk of actually those becoming extinct and dying out. So where they've reached out is for those supports to, compile books that are going to engage the children, and also those apps and just things that they can use within their communities to keep up to date with, changing society, I guess, and also with their children and keeping them interested. So, and we work with, go down and we work everywhere, but it's even with Yorta Yorta, we've done quite a fair bit of work with Yorta Yorta country down towards Victoria. So people just see me in the classroom sort of jumping about, being a bit silly sometimes, but we've got a wide scope. So, yeah, and more people are looking to sort of to jump on and, develop resources for their own community. Yeah.
Thanks, Marion. Any further questions? Great. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
That was great.
Yep. So I'm right to.
All right.
Yep.
Very
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marion.
Oh, you can have
You're
that.
welcome to still observe the council meeting if you show a wish, but you're also welcome to leave, which I'd understand. We'll also hand out those documents that Marion has left for councillors at the end of the council meeting. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, would you?
This goes to item 5, confirmation of minutes.
Yeah. I'll just have one little change. One change from staff that Patrick is replaced with Rowan Betnick as the acting director
So
at the
do I
last
say
meeting.
that after it's been moved?
Just before it gets moved. So moving the minutes with one change.
Okay.
Like last.
And then, do you want to say that?
I'll say that.
Yeah, okay. Okay, let's move on to item 4, confirmation of the minutes for the ordinary meeting of 30th of June. But before we get a mover and a seconder, there is one change.
Just one change from staff. We inadvertently left Patrick in there as attendee, where it was Rowan Betnick, acting director. So at the June council meeting. So if we can have a mover and a seconder for the minutes.
Councillor Brady and Councillor Turner.
Thank you.
Item number 5, the mayoral minute.
Oh, we vote on that. Everyone in favour?
Oh, sorry, all in favour? Against? Carried. Sorry.
That's right.
Item 5, the mayoral minute. Councillor Harris, Phillips, sorry. A seconder, Councillor Coleman. Any discussion on the mayoral minute? All in favour? Against?
5.2.
Sorry.
5.2.
5.2, the mayoral minute, National General Assembly. Move Councillor Brady, seconder Councillor Turner.
We did.
All in favour? Second? Against? Item 5.3, mayoral minute, CMA Ballina Roads Transport and Disaster Recovery. Councillor Phillips and Councillor Coleman. Any discussion on that? All in favour? Against? Carried. No public forum. Has anyone got any disclosures of interest? Neil. All right, item 8, read a note. Does anyone have anything to pull out before we move all these?
Is that sort of 8.1 where we're looking at
The 8.
Oh, yeah. Can I please talk about one of them,
Sure. Do you know what number that is?
It's in the part that is just plain under project. So it's going to be the renewal Talbot Jewel Hall.
Yep. So we'll do 8.1 first.
Okay. We'll move to 8.1, building projects monthly update.
Can I also on 8.2?
Yep.
Sure. We'll just move 8.1 to start with.
Yep.
Can I move Councillor Phillips,
And seconded.
Councillor Brady? All in favour? Against?
Discussion.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Sorry?
Discussion from...
Now we're going to 8.2, aren't we?
No, 8.1.
Oh, you wanted to talk about 8.1. Sorry.
Get a clarification.
We both want to go. I just want to know, I can see that the renewal for the Talbot Jewel Hall has been project completed, and the budget from the capital pot was $30,000, but only $11,636 was used, understand. But I am wondering whether or not there's still two things at the hall. The back door, a gauze door on the kitchen, because there is no gauze at all, so there's always flies there whenever there's catering. And also the aircon in the kitchen is just an old swampy that doesn't work, basically. And in the kitchen, of course, you've got two double ovens, as well as the cool room that's on the internal wall, so that's all giving off heat. But if not, even probably as high a priority, back at the footy and the netball field, there's things like the barrier gates that we had talked about 2 years ago type thing, that needing for safety reasons. I know the boiling water in the zippy heater inside the canteen was leaking, which I think still is. Yeah, well, that's minor compared to some of the sports shed. There's still the roller doors broken, and that's sort of 2 years later. I'm still painting and putting in writing and all the rest of it. And so things like that, the water tank's all rusted to pieces and it's not holding any water at all. So I was wondering whether or not that, the remaining $18,364 would be. Sorry, Adrian.
I think Adrian will answer that question for you.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Deputy Mayor. I guess, Councillor, there are some items there that overlap between buildings and Parks and Gardens, Sport and Rec. So we'd like to leave the buildings with the buildings manager, and he can manage his budget appropriately. But where there's items like the rainwater tank and the shed, that fits within my portfolio, and we're investigating those and actioning those. But I wouldn't want to steal building maintenance money to do Parks and Gardens things. So I'll leave it at that one, I think.
So therefore, what?
Yeah, so through you, Madam Mayor. So in regard to the Tully Hall, the money expenditure was just on a new air conditioner for the kitchen. We put quite a big one in there. It's yet to be installed, but it's coming.
Thank you.
So that's happening. Unaware of the gauze door. I'll just get that done through the system.
Thank you.
And everything like that. And I'm being made aware of the issues at the sports ground, and I know one of the staff members has approached us, and we've done some repairs to some of the buildings, fixed up roller doors and all that kind of stuff. So we're working through those problems that are coming up.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Connie.
No, that's three buildings. So, sorry. No, I don't know if it's buildings, but I know the seal we did on the courts, Adrian, before the start of the netball season is flaking out of it again, and they've got to host a final in 3 weeks, I think. It's at Tully. Just wondering if we could throw some more blue stuff in the cracks, it'd be real good.
I'd be very hesitant to do that simply because we flagged it at the start of the season. This was a Band-Aid. It will not work permanently, and we need to secure permanent funding. So I'd be hesitant to throw more money into the wind on a fix that we know won't work. In saying that, if there's urgent safety matters that we need to attend to, we will. But if it's a purely cosmetic fix, I'd be hesitant to do that.
It's safety, I presume, is it? Because those cracks go right through.
Tomorrow night I will assess it if it's got worse over the last, we haven't been home for 3 weeks, so. But it was getting quite
Deep.
like deep
Yeah.
coming out of it, which is a trip hazard, I suppose. But I'll have a look on Thursday night and report back.
Okay,
Thank you.
Ms. Mayor, what have we got?
Are you on 8.1?
8.1. I've got a couple of things I want to bring up as well. On 8.1, this is just something that's come to me by people who, not only in our shire but other shires, it seems that some reason we get told by government that they're trying to make it quicker to get projects up and ahead, and yet it seems to be getting harder for projects to get, as you know, the local one down here at the tyre centre said it was, and it's not, he wasn't blaming council, he was just saying the whole thing is you think you've finished and next minute there's something else you've got to tick off or you've got to get done. And then I heard about a person over in Forbes who was trying to do a building that got burnt. All he wanted to do was repair it, and the amount of hoops he's got to hop through, and he's the deputy mayor of Forbes, and he's still got to find it hard to get through those hoops as well. So when government talks about trying to make it quicker, trying to get through, getting developers to get these developments done faster, what can we do? Because a lot of it seems to be state government holds you up, not our own. How can we say to them, well, you talk about it, but there's nothing actually happening. We're not getting there any quicker to the end point. How do we make it so we can get there faster?
The General Manager can answer that, Councillor Brady.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Brady. I probably suspect that's in regard to 8.6 rather than 8.1. So 8.1 is the building projects that we do. 8.6 is our development application data. But good question. And I'd like to just promote amongst councillors the service that we've just begun with, which is to assist.
I see that.
Assist any of the general public that wishes to lodge a development application, the opportunity to come in and get that development application assistance so that they can understand what needs to be lodged on the portal and how they lodge that information on the portal. So we provide that assistance both here in Condobolin and at Lake Cargelligo on appointment.
I'm just criticising the fact that state government comes out and says that they want to build so many houses, they want to get all these projects up and running, and it seems that we do our bit, and then it gets to a point where as a roadblock comes, and then you've got to go back again, and backwards and forwards. And this just holds up. So a lot of people just say in the end, they throw their hands in the air and say, oh, bugger it, I'm not going to go any further. Just how can we get that message through maybe to the state government and to planning people for them to get their act together besides us getting our act together?
I think the best thing we can do is work with the system we've got at the moment, and if there's any changes that you see or that developers see that needs to be made, we can then lobby the Department of Planning for changes in that particular case. But otherwise, the system is what it is. It's designed to pick up failures of past developments that have occurred. So it is fairly comprehensive. It requires some fairly detailed information, and to, I suppose, to the general punter out there, if they're just building a shed or something in their backyard, then they may not appreciate why all of the things need to be ticked off, but there generally is a good reason for them. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brady. Is there any further discussion on 8.1? Sorry,
I just
Councillor
want to
Coleman.
mention that, council has now introduced the DA support system. So now that should help people have a more seamless process, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I see that Paul Scully put something in there about how he's trying to bring all those things together so it gets done quicker, that we get these things through faster. But it still seems to be a backlog, and it seems to be take a long time for these backlog to get through. The other one still on 8.1, on the caravan parks, we spent 350,000 on what? What did we spend it on? Eh?
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not completed yet.
So it's for all the caravans.
It's for the scope of works they're going to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any further discussion on 8.1? All in favour? Against? That is carried. So moving on to 8.2, is there? Are we taking any more out of the reader note? Or okay, can I have a mover?
Just mover and seconder first.
8.5. So mover for 8.2 was that Councillor Phillips and Coleman.
Coleman.
Thank you. Councillor Brady?
Look, tourism seems to be growing in our shire exponentially, and a lot of it has actually even happened since we've got ourselves, for the first time, a proper tourism office in the shire, which has made a big difference in having a tourism officer who is so well out there promoting tourism for the whole of the shire. It brought me back to quite a few years ago. We used to have a tourism committee for the shire, and I see at Tottenham they have a tourism committee just to bring up things on tourism. Is there any way that we could probably reset a tourism committee for the shire again as one of our shire committees? Because, as I said, tourism is, you only got to see the amount of caravans, that there's 20 odd caravans out at the lake at the present moment. Yesterday I seen over 20 odd caravans go past my house. So there's lots of tourism, and I know there's, if you go over to the information centre any time over there's always quite a crowd of people in and out, and when you see the figures on how much tourism we're having, is it worthwhile us having a tourism committee so we can actually even expand some of that knowledge? Because we just heard a person, Marion, talk about Aboriginal tourism. A lot of people probably coming here don't even know about the amount of Aboriginal history we have in this area and the amount of Aboriginal history that we could actually be promoting. And if we had a committee of councillors, and sometimes when there is something on somewhere, and we used to do this again, some councillors would go with the tourist person to a whatever was on to help promote the area. So I'm just putting it out there. Are there other councils who'd be interested in having a tourism committee for the whole of the shire?
I'll leave that to councillors.
I would be interested, but you would also want community involved as well, and that's sort of the hard bit, is getting them involved.
Well, we had committees for the cemetery. We have committees for Gunben Lake. I know they don't work all the time, but if we had a committee, as I said, we used to have one many years ago, a tourism committee, so you could have delegates from Tottenham, Lake and Condo on that committee. You might only meet 3 or 4 times maximum a year, but at least people on that committee who would travel, go to other places. Like I do quite a lot of travelling, been more since my wife retired. But anyway, just last month I was at Daptar. I went to a car museum there because I'm interested in cars and so forth. And they had heaps of tourist information there, but nothing on Lachlan Shire. And I thought, we used to do this years ago when we were travelling, we'd have stuff in the boot, pamphlets in the boot, we go to a tourist information office and say, have you got any on Lachlan Shire? They say, no. You go out to the boot and get so many and give it to the information centre. And this is one way of promoting our...
Any other councillors?
I don't know. Anybody else interested in having a committee of...
If I could-
I'll turn this off.
My question would be that we pay a tourism manager and a tourism employee, I don't know the level, a tourism officer as well. So that's a significant amount of that. Would it be contraindication to what they're doing and their strategic plan to having people going, oh, this would be a good idea? Would it not be within the scope of the tourism manager to say, we've got this, because we've got the volunteers that obviously work over at the information centre? I just feel like having another committee that you may or may not get people on when we already pay council wages for that role to be done, that has KPIs and stuff like that, that's therefore accountable, rather than a talk fest, or have sessions where they can maybe invite the community in, something like that, rather than a structured 355 committee or whatever it is, when we've already got the structures there for it, like, but invite community into potentially the planning or something.
That's what why I think
Sorry.
condos
Can
never
I
had a
just-
tourism committee.
One at a time.
That's why the other the towns like Lake and Tottenham have a tourism committee, because they don't have a tourism officer there, and condos always had a tourism officer, or in a capacity
Yeah.
that could do it.
I'd just like to comment through the Deputy Mayor, if I may. I think if it's going to be councillors on the committee, then a more efficient use of councillor time is exactly what we're doing now, receiving a report from the Tourism Director and then the council as a whole commenting on it or providing feedback on it through this debate process now, rather than separating that out into a 355 committee. The purpose for running a 355 committee separate to council would be to actually gain community input from outside of the councillors, I would suggest. It would still involve councillors, of course, on a 355 committee. But so if there's an overwhelming interest within the Shire to have a Shire-wide tourism committee, I'm quite happy to set up a 355 committee, but I'd probably suggest that assessment is done on an annual or biannual basis when we are determining like the committees of the council. But happy to take your comments back on the tourism manager's report as we see it as a whole, from the whole of council, rather than having a separate committee discuss it. And the committee's role is not to control the
That's right.
tourism manager. That's my role.
That's your role.
Yes.
That's right. And
Yes.
that wasn't what I was getting at. I was just getting at, if you had a committee that...
Yeah.
Going to the tourist information, we wouldn't want to control what she does, because the job that she does, you only got to see the figures. You can see she's doing a damn good job.
Yeah.
It's just that, you'll have some people who will probably, as I'm saying, when you are travelling around or you're going somewhere, you could often be promoting your area as well. And if you were on a committee, as I said, you're just there as not to control, not to have even to have a meeting. You wouldn't have to, but we've always had a committee for the lake. I don't think the committee ever controlled Adrian. Well, I could
I'm sure they didn't.
So there's no reason why that committee wouldn't be any different. It would be just they'd come with suggestions, or they'd also take away suggestions from her for what to do, or for whoever's going to be the officer, to spread more information about Lachlan Shire.
Councillor Blewett, do you have something?
More of a comment, I think, more than a question. Perhaps going along with what Councillor Brady said, could we perhaps put like out an expression of interest without sort of an advertising tone to it on the council Facebook page and the Visitor Information Centre Facebook page and their website to put out, is there an interest out there in joining a committee, a tourism committee? Therefore, we're putting it out to the community to see if there's interest before we actually form a committee. Just put it out on those forums first and gauge the community reaction to it. Could we do something like that?
Whatever. Just try and help more tourism.
Okay. There's also no reason why we can't all put brochures in our own cars and promote the area when we're on holidays anyway. So.
Yeah. Oh.
People, but we used to do it all the time once. Anywhere we travelled, we'd have some in the boot and just go and find out if they haven't got any. I remember once I went to a place and I said, "You haven't got anything on Lachlan Shire?" And they said, "Oh, Lachlan Shire. I just wait a minute. I think we've got something out in the storeroom." I said, "Well, that's not much bloody use. They've got a storeroom, and if you haven't got it out here for people to see anything about it," so they went and got them out of the storeroom and put them up. But so sometimes you do have to remind people that when you go there. But when you see things on Deniliquin and you see things like this at Dapto, and they're talking about that, but nothing on what we've got.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Brady.
That's all right.
Any other further discussion? All those in favour? Against? That is carried. Right. Moving on to 8.3, read a note.
You can move them.
Can we move a whole now? So if we, hang
Or
on.
there's
8.5. Okay, so we'll just move 8.3 to 8.4. Can we have a mover for that? Councillor Turner, Councillor Blewett. Thank you. All
discussion.
All in favour? Against? That is carried.
5.
Moving on to page
33.
83
33.
is 33. We're not at 83 yet. So 8.5 roadworks monthly update for June. Can we have a mover for that? Councillor Phillips and Councillor Turner. Councillor Blewett, did you have something you...
My question is, and I'm sorry if this is the wrong name, I call it Tip Road. I'm not exactly sure if it's the road that the residents use to gain access to the tip.
Which one?
Off Maitland Street, not off Boonah.
So the unofficial tip
Yeah,
road.
the unofficial tip road. Now, it's in quite a bad shape. And the other day, I happened to be following 3 vehicles that were towing trailers, and they all wanted to enter that road. Now, I understand that there was some distance between each of the vehicles and all of that, but once they got into the road, I don't think they realised how bad it was, so there was nearly an accident right at the beginning where there's this big dip. I'm wondering, are we ever going to make some sort of attempt to fix it, or are we just going to close that road because, seriously, it's in really bad shape?
How bad it is to go in as well, and it's not much better. There's one patch there, if you don't remember it's there, you just about break yourself in half when you go through it. So our tip roads are terrible.
So basically, I'm just wondering, are we going to make any attempt at repair work, or is it just going to be left until it's no longer a viable option to get into the tip?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Through you, deliberately so, the access road off Maitland Street is not maintained. We're encouraging people to take the other access off Boonah. Some minor maintenance work has been done there. It is not perfect, but it is certainly trafficable, and it is all weather. It is a gravel road, but even when it rains, you can still access the tip perfectly fine off Boonah. Granted, it is not a highway. It is a gravel road though. So I don't think we would want to be making it a sealed road at the moment. I think that would encourage too much speed along there, and it is a low-speed access track to the tip for residents and for trucks. So that's probably all the feedback I've got at the moment, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Brady?
Adrian, I've been using that track in the last few days, and that is far from satisfactory. Just before we used to have the turn off where you made the new depot, there's a gutter. You know you could lose a vehicle in it that bad when you're driving on out there. It is terrible. It is absolutely shocking road to drive in on. And I know how bad it is, so I go very slow. But somebody who might know about it could just about break themselves in half. So we should be doing something better than that. This day and age, surely, to goodness, we can do better than having a gutter this deep.
Thank you, Councillor Brady. Is there anything further? Councillor Blewett?
So if we're not going to maintain that section, why is it not closed and we do some decent repair work on the actual Boona Road entrance then and make that the main one? I mean, but if it's that bad and we're never going to do maintenance, it's only going to get worse. So it should be closed because I think it's quite nearly bordering on dangerous. So why aren't we closing that and then focusing all our, like the funding on and using the money on the Boona Street end?
Happy to take that on board, and if council wishes to move that way, then we can close that access track.
Yeah, but will the money be spent on the Boona end?
There is no money allocated towards that track. Exactly, stock route.
However, we will maintain the Boona Road end. Yeah.
I just don't think that's satisfactory, but that's my opinion, so I'll leave it at that. So why can't we close it? Sorry, no, we can close it, but there's no money to keep maintaining Boona Road.
Close both roads and then back off that road. Yeah, no, Tim, don't worry about the Tim.
Thank you.
Councillor Harris?
Thank you. I think we're in a bit between a rock and a hard place here. With this, if we close that bottom road off Maitland Street, is going to be an enormous kickback from a lot of local residents. That is going to be a real sticking point. So we're going to have to be pretty careful about just making a decision to actually close that road on a permanent basis. It's always been a problem, that road, the tip roads. Ever since I've used the tip out there, and it probably never will change. But I think everyone has got to think very carefully about whether we do close that bottom road.
I'm not suggesting that. I just wanted a bit of maintenance.
Because there will be a lot of residents who won't be happy about it from that end of town. So I don't know what the solution is, but I think we have just got to be careful about that Maitland Street entry to the tip there.
Okay. Any further discussions on 8.5? All in favour? Against? And that is carried. So we're moving on to page 845, 8.6. Can I have can I have a mover for 8.6? Thanks, Councillor Rees. Seconder, Councillor Turner. Thank you. Councillor Brady?
Just see Lachlan Street is going ahead. Does that mean that we've been paid for it?
As of today, we're not due payment just yet under the arrangements, but the approval has come through and they've requested an extension on payment, and it's we wouldn't unnecessarily refuse that extension on payment, but we would be paid this calendar year, so prior to Christmas. Thank you.
Any further discussion on 8.6? All in favour? Against? And that is carried. Moving on to page 50, which is, can we move from 8.7 to 8.8? Everyone. So can we have a mover for 8.7 and 8.8? Councillor Turner? Councillor Phillips? So we're on page 50, which might be page 51 on the iPad. All in favour? Against? That is carried. We're on to page 61. 9 decision reports, which is nil, and general manager is nil.
So 9.2, cooperating community.
9.2.
Community donation and event support, 9.2.1.
9.2 on page 62. 9.2.1. Moved by Councillor Brady.
1 and 2 and 3 to approve.
Second, can I have a seconder? Councillor Turner. Any discussion on 9.2.1? All in favour? Against? Oh, okay. Sorry. Moving things along.
What's the reason to decline the request of the biggest high tea lunch financial support for RSL Life Care? Is that because it's not within the policy?
Are you going to talk about that?
Oh, sorry. The next one. Sorry. Scratch that question.
Any further discussion? Do you have anything to say, Anita? No. All in favour? Against? Oh, sorry, Councillor Rees. Didn't see your light on.
That's okay. No, I just had a question. I had a look in the attachments and I noticed the team. Did that have like a team list and stuff that came in with it, or
Are local people involved?
is it all condo people playing in that one? Like all from within our shire, or are they across multiple shires?
I made a phone call to Natalie and I asked her,
Oh, awesome.
and she said there's 4 players from Condobolin on that team.
And are the other players from other towns within the Lachlan Shire?
I believe Dubbo.
So that's why Womble, because that's Macquarie River, not Galari, which is Lachlan.
Yeah.
I'm all for supporting the Koori Knockout, but if there's 25 players on the teams that go to the Koori Knockout, if only 4 are from our shire, I'm just wondering the logistics. Because I do believe there are teams from Condo and Lake that are going as well. So I don't know where to go there. And other councillors, like I just feel that if have they also approached Dubbo Shire? No, Dubbo's not Dubbo Shire Council, are they? They're a city region. I'm just wondering if Dubbo's also paying some of it, if we can do it together to make up that amount or something like that. Just being that only 4, on Councillor Coleman's advice, that only 4 are from our shire. That potentially, are we able to find out if they've also requested support from Dubbo, and then we go from there? I'm happy to support. I think it's great they're going, and everything the Knockout stands for, love it. But I feel like if it's only 4 people from Condo, then potentially maybe we can look at a co-funding arrangement with Dubbo.
Did you want to say anything?
Can we ask? Are we allowed to ask that question, or do we just have to say no and then come back? I just don't happy to support. Just think.
Can we just delay?
When's the September? Yeah, 26th of September. We can delay this item until the August meeting if you so choose, and we can find that additional information out. Yeah, if you prefer to do that.
I think so,
Yeah.
particularly if the majority majority
Yeah.
of the team are from Dubbo, like there's an opportunity for us to co-support with the other council that are, and the region that they're in. That would probably be my preference, being that we make up some of the people in the team, but there's obviously from other areas as well.
Yeah.
And then happy to support following that feedback.
Does everybody agree with that? Yep.
And will somebody from here speak to the applicant?
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. Any other discussion on 9.2?
I'd just like to add is the mover and seconder, Councillor Brody and Councillor Turner, happy to accept that as part of the motion. Thank you.
Okay. We all in favour then?
All in favour.
All in favour? Oh, sorry, Councillor. Yes, Councillor.
Sorry. Just, do we give any funding to the Condobolin Show Society for their ball when they hold it?
I'd have to take that on notice, but we certainly wouldn't give it without being requested. Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry. I just have a question, or I guess a proposal. I've been here a lot less time than a lot of other councillors, but every year we sit here and consider donation requests from Condobolin Show, Lake Jellicoe Show. When Tottenham, well, they don't really do a show, much the same as the Christmas things. Is there not a way we can do a byline or something that, as a general standing, as a shire, we support the in-kind requests for the shows? Like, I just feel like it's every year. The hall hire, I think, is a different thing, or we just come up with, we will provide the hall hire at the 50% rate or something. Is there a way that the staff can potentially do something that then just becomes a blanket approval that doesn't have to come to council, and only anything outside of that? I just feel like every year they come and every year they've got to do the same application. Not a lot changes in the events every year. Is that doable?
It's doable, but their requests generally do change each year. So just the ones I've seen come through in the last 6 months, they've generally been a different request and generally asking for more support or more in-kind support from council each year. Happy for them to do a multi-year application though, that doesn't go beyond the current sitting council, because I don't like to burden a following council on decisions that we may make here, but certainly happy for any organisation to lock in their request for support on a multi-year basis, so long as it aligns with the council term.
And I think particularly for the shows and the Christmas carnivals and trees, I think potentially if we can support the multi-year donation, everyone's struggling for volunteers to write said applications, and if they can, the 750, those sort of ones, I think that would probably be ideal. If we can make that happen, that'd be good.
Absolutely. And I've just heard from one of my staff as well for the ball run by the Condo Show. We generally defer the payment of the SRA hall hire as part of councillors' support for that event. Thank you.
Right, anything else?
Go there with a blanket for the show. I'd show caution there, because at times at Lake Jellicoe you have the rodeo, times we used to have trots, then you got different events under the one organisation. So one year you might have a big rodeo, next year you might have nothing. So I would just suggest, don't mind your idea, but I would suggest you show caution. Who gets what and who gets this, that was all. So.
My suggestion probably more sat around the in-kind support around the provision of bins, the cleaning, the stuff like that. That doesn't change. The costing will change because of CPI and stuff, and it increases, and the wages that are required. I guess it's more that sort of thing that is the same every year. But in terms of, like, obviously the rodeo if we say this is for the annual shows, but then it's the rodeo or the camp draft, then I believe that warrants something additional. But I just feel for particularly the Christmas carnival and our shows, I think that might save a little bit of time.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Rees. All in favour? Against? And that is carried. Page 66, 9.3, environmental and planning is nil. 9.4.1, page 67, road safety and activities for 2026. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Coleman, Brady and Coleman.
Oh, that's as well.
Yes.
Okay. The Road Safety Committee, it's been going for many years. I was one of the first Lachlan Shire delegate on it. And what I'd like to know is, who are our delegates now that we have going on this committee? Or is it just virtually left to the road safety officer to organise what happens? Is there any of our Shire councillors on that who are delegates to the Road Safety Committee anymore?
I can take that on notice. I have a list in my office and I can advise councillors directly after the closure of this meeting.
Yeah, okay. As I said, we used to have people who used to go along, and we had some very people who were very passionate about it. We had ex-councillor Nelson, who was one, who was very passionate about special road signs. And I just wondered, also, as I said, I was on it for many years in the beginning when it first started. I just like to know if we have anyone going to it, because it is, after hearing all that truck accidents lately, there must be something that if we have delegates go to find out what we can do about reducing that.
Does anyone have anything further to add to that? Councillor Rees?
Do we have a copy of the plan for 26-27 that's been released? So obviously that outlines the stuff that was done in 25-26. And if I put my other hat on, there was lots of excellent stuff done for all the primary schools and the central schools, but the high school hasn't had any road safety stuff. I know that there was an overall plan and there was reasons behind that, but I would be interested to see the 26-27 plan to see if the signage and the markings and all of that is also being extended to the high school in Condobolin and the other schools within the Shire.
Have we got a delegate
Madam Deputy Mayor, through you, just to respond to that one, I can provide an updated list of the 26-27 plans. I can bring that back to council. The committee between the three councils has not met in a number of years. Fell into abeyance when this new council was elected, and it hasn't met since then. There is a delegate, I believe Councillor Turner is the delegate to the committee, but it just hasn't met since then because of various funding things, various things happening in Transport for New South Wales, and the three councils still getting settled as well. So it hasn't met for a while.
Thank you, Adrian. Anything further? All in favour? Oh, sorry, Councillor Harris.
Almost in time. Just one question on that. In years gone by, we used to have and correct me wrong, I can't remember when the last one was, but we used to have a presentation from, what's her name, Melanie Serta?
Yeah.
Annual presentation. They used to come to council and talk about what was happening in the previous 12 months and what was going to happen in the next 12 months, and then you and Fen with questions, etc., from council. So I'm just wondering whether that's just fallen by the wayside for any particular reason, or whether it's something that council might be interested in trying to get reinvigorated again, so we at least get a verbal
Update.
Well, yeah. After all, we are putting money into this all the time, so I just was sort of wondering what's happened in that field.
Yeah, through you, Councillor. The intention of this report was to bring it back into the radar of councillors' minds and to advise you of everything that has been happening. If council wishes to have a presentation from our road safety officer, I can invite her over. She'd be happy to come talk.
I think that sounds good. Anything else? All in favour? Against? And that is carried. We are going to page 71, which will be 72, I think, on the iPad. Deputations, none. Notice of motion, nil. Notice of rescission, nil. And delegates report, nil. Page 72, item 14.1, correspondence. A mover, can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Harris. Thank you, Councillor Rees. Does anyone have any discussion on the correspondence? All in favour? Against? That is carried. Page 73, questions which have been given notice is nil, and petitions nil. And then can I just have someone to move us out of this meeting and into closed? Councillor Rees, Councillor Councillor Phillips and Councillor Turner. All in favour? Against? And we move out of closed.
Thank you. I'll just open the door.
We
Questions out just to be follow the process, and then we can do general business after we close the meeting. We're right to go. Thank you. Item 17.1, Draft Audit Risk and Improvement Committee fees, reasonable expenses and facilities policy for 26-29. The Executive Manager of Finance and Governance Report R26156 be received and noted. Council also resolved the Draft Audit Risk and Improvement Committee fees, reasonable expenses and facilities policy 26-29 prepared in accordance with legislative requirements. And 3, that the ARIC member fees be increased by 3.7%, being the same rate increase as determined by the Remuneration Tribunal for mayors and councillors, with the new fee amount for the chair at $1,480 per meeting and independent members of $914 per meeting, effective 1st of July 2026. And 4, that the travel allowance rate per kilometre be noted as the rate provided in the Local Government State Award. Item 17.2, Water Leak Allowance Application Assessment 1068684. Recommend Council resolved that to approve the maximum credit permitted of $5,970.52 to assessment 1068684. And 2, that the ratepayer be advised that this is the first and only allowable undetected water leak claim to be applied to this assessment. And that ends the resolutions from the closed meeting of Council. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, and that ends the meeting for July, doesn't it? Yeah. Thank you all for coming.